Good day, class. Now we are going to do our pertinent questions. So question number 1, what do you think World War One was like? So you can just write in your workbook number 1 and pin down what do you think, what it was like, how did it look, how were the people, what do you think when you imagine World War One, how it was. Then question 2, what do you think you know about World War One? So maybe you have read a book about World War One, or you have seen a movie about World War One, or you have heard about it. So whatever comes to mind, please write it down. Then question number 3, why do you think we read poems? So why do you think, is it important to read a poem? Do you like reading poems? Do you think it's not necessary to read a poem? You can just pin down your answer in your workbook. Then how can one go and write a good argumentative essay? So what do you think are good qualities in an argumentative essay? Why do you think it is important? Anything that really comes to mind when you think about this question, how can you write a good argumentative essay? Then the last question, why do we study World War One literature? So you can say whether you think it is important to study World War One literature with your reason, and why you may not think it is important to study it with a reason. Your reason might be it's too difficult, it is long gone, and we're living into the future, not into the past. So whatever you think can go. I'll give you 5 to 7 minutes to answer the questions, and if you have any questions, you can ask me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, learners, for taking part and your engagement in the pertinent questions. Thank you very much. So you're probably asking yourselves, why did ma'am change the table arrangements? Why are we not seated in pairs anymore? Why are we seated in groups of 4s now? Okay, the reason you guys are seated in groups of 4, the reason I changed the table arrangement and the seating arrangement in the classroom is because I want us to play 2 games. Huh? How does that sound? Great. Okay, so we are going to play 2 truths and a lie. We are also going to play word bingo. So the first game is 2 truths and a lie. The second game is word bingo. Okay, for the first game, 2 truths and a lie, I will issue out sheets. So each group, or each team rather, will get a sheet. And in that sheet, we have at least 10 boxes, right? And inside those 10 boxes, there are 3 statements. 3 statements. In those 3 statements, there are 2 truths and 1 lie. And in your groups, you are going to eliminate 1 lie, the one that you think is a lie, in the box, right? Since there are 3 statements, you guys have to eliminate 1 lie, and the other 2 has to be the truth. So those statements are regarding poems, right? So we are going to learn about poems. So now the statements in the boxes will just be regarding poems, and nothing more, nothing less, just about poems. So you have to tell me which one you think is a lie regarding poems, which one you think is true regarding poems. Okay, so now I'm going to issue out your sheet, and everyone should cooperate in the classroom. Everyone please help each other, help your group members. And thank you so much, guys, for your cooperation and your participation in the first game. That was really amazing. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Okay, now for the second game, we are going to play word bingo. So each of you is going to receive a series of flashcards, right? You're going to receive a series of flashcards, and in those flashcards are your answers. So what's going to happen is that I'm going to read you guys the characteristics or statements regarding argumentative essay. and you just have to place these on top of your table, and then whenever you feel like this one is the correct one, you just lift it up and shout bingo, and then I will decide whether it is correct or it is not. And then I will record the marks of your group marks on the board. So if you get a point, I'm going to record it on the board, so that at the end of the game, the group that gets the most points is the one that's going to win the prize. Okay, now I'm going to give you guys an example of why we're going to play this game. Let's say I am asking you guys, what is the purpose of an argumentative essay? The purpose of an argumentative essay, with your groups, you can discuss for like a few seconds and be like, no man, argumentative essay basically explains itself. It's to argue. You're gonna take this out of the series flashcards that you have, and then you are going, one member in each group is going to lift it up and shout bingo. It's argue. If it's correct, then your team gets a point. If it's not correct, then another team has to try. So I'm going to give you guys these flashcards, and each team will, all of the teams will receive the equal flashcards with the same numbers in them, the same answers in them, so you guys don't have to feel like I robbed you of your answers. Okay, now let's start. This is going to be so much fun.
Lena, so as we already read the poem Dulce et Decorum Est 2 times by now, this time I'm going to analyze the poem with you. So I'm going to take a few lines out of the stanzas and then analyze it, identify some figures of speech, and how it is used. So first we're going to look at the line 1 in stanza 1. So I'm going to read it. Bent double like old beggars under sacks. So I'm going to put the focus on like old beggars under sacks. So this is an example of a simile. We identify simile also by looking at the words like or as. In this case, the word like is used. And what is a simile? A simile is two things that are being compared. So this is why it is a simile. Okay. The second line in stanza 1, knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we cursed through sludge. Coughing like hags. Again, the word like is used, and two things are being compared, the coughing of the people and hags, coughing like hags. So this is also an example of a simile. Then I'm going to move on to stanza 4, line 3. And watch the white eyes raving in his face. Watch, white, and raving. Those three words all start with the letter W, and this is alliteration because the same consonant is used multiple times in the same line. In this case, it's the W, watch, white, and riding. Then line 6, stanza 4, is going to be come gargling from the froth corrupted lungs. Gargling. So if you read the poem, you can hear the sound gargling, and that is an example of onomatopoeia. Why? Because onomatopoeia is a word that represents a sound, so that is why this is onomatopoeia. Two important things about the poem is also this is a combination poem of two sonnets. What is a sonnet? A sonnet is a poem that consists out of 14 lines. In this case, the poem consists out of 28 lines. That means 14, 2 sonnets combined. And also the poem has a rhyming scheme of A, B, C, D, C, D. That is also important in the future when you read other poems. Okay, so Lennis, the page I just handed you out consists of a list of figures of speech. So you now have to look at the figures of speech and identify what types of figures of speech this example is. This will take you about 10 minutes. Please remember to use your prior knowledge about the poem we just analyzed, and then write down all the types of figures of speech. Then you and your partner next to you will swipe your pages, and you will do peer assessment. And also when you receive your page back with your figures of speech, please do your corrections. Then next you will use that list of figures of speech and also the poem we just analyzed and the note you took on the poem. And then finally we'll have to write a half of a page of what the poem they'll say at the decorum is about. Please use the list of figures of speech and also the poem we just analyzed. After that, you will read your summaries to each other again, so it's peer assessment, and you give each other feedback, and you can also come to me for feedback, and you can come and read it to me. Okay, so please start working on that. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I can see that most of you understand how we analyze a poem when it comes to figures of speech. And now I think we should move on to a debate. So when we are having a debate, we have three phases. Before we move on, who can tell us what is a debate? Good. So a debate is when two or more people are having an argument about a certain topic, whereby the other one agrees with the topic and the other one doesn't agree with the topic. So we are having three phases. The first phase is the introductory phase, whereby the speaker introduces the participant, or rather the people who are on his side or her side. Then the second phase it is the argument phase, whereby one explains the argument and provide the evidence and the supporting statements. Lastly, we have the concluding phase. The concluding phase, that is where they have to close off with a strong main point, so that they can convince people to their point of view. That is how a debate is done. So we are having two groups. The one is for the topic, the one is against the topic. Then they have to go through all the three phases. Then that is a debate. So I'm having a topic here for you guys. So I want you guys to be in groups of 4, and 2 for the topic and another 2 learners against the topic. So I'm going to move around to check for your points and advise you guys. Then your topic is single gender schools are better for students. That is your topic. So I'm giving you guys about 10 minutes to write the debate, then we can have a discussion afterwards. Okay guys, I can see that you all understood the topic very well, because I managed to grab some points that were raised in some of all's arguments. So I saw that most of you wrote that for those who were for the topic wrote that it will distract learners, and then the other one is you guys mentioned gender stereotyping, and I do agree with you guys. Then for those who were against the topic, I noticed that they were struggling to make points, but the main point there is that single gender schools are not preparing girls or other boys for the real world. Girls won't be able to know how to react when they are around boys. The very same thing happens to boys. They won't know how to react when they are around girls. So I think that in that case the topic is settled, and I hope you guys understand the topic of debate and how it is conducted. So lastly, we are going to discuss an argumentative essay. It links us to a debate. So argumentative essay, its purpose is just to persuade one, or rather make one support other people's point of view after hearing the points, or after hearing the support that they have for their point or side of view. So according to the structure of a argumentative essay, we start off with an introduction. Our introduction consists of what? It consists of a background, a strong thesis statement, and lastly the roadmap, where you tell us what will your essay be about. Then we move on to our body paragraphs. We normally have 3 body paragraphs, whereby you start off with the topic sentence, and then following by the supporting sentences together with the evidence, whereby you have to provide the reference. Then lastly, we have our conclusion. In our conclusion, a conclusion normally summarizes the essay or the text. So conclusion summarizes the essay. You are going to summarize the essay, restate. You have to include your thesis statement. You have to restate it. Then finally you close off with your strong closing point. That is how you write an essay. So since you guys know the structure of an argumentative essay, and it is also part of your SMART task that you have to complete after the lesson. So I think I should give you some time to go through your SMART task. Then afterward, for your activity, I think I want you guys to start with your introduction for the SMART task. And that is all from me. I'm gonna be moving around checking your introductions, and if you're not sure, please consult with me. Thank you.